Just looking ahead to Everton team news, how the likes of Mads, Wilf, and even Ricardo recovering from his long-term injury?
Yes, Ricardo is recovering. He's still in his individual training with the physio. He's moved outside to do that part of rehab, so he's on the grass with the physios. So his rehab is going according to plan. Wilfred Ndidi is making good progress. He's partially involved in team training. This week we're looking to bring him back in full team training over the course of next week. Mats was part of team training this week, so he's making good progress, and all being well, he's available for selection Saturday.
It's good news to have him back for team selection. I mean, how big of a boost is that for the rest of the side, as well as Mads as well?
No, every player that's back and can help the team is a big one. In Mats' case as well, I have to say Jakob has done an excellent job coming in. From day one in Liverpool away on Boxing Day, he did an excellent run, showed that the progression he's made into a proper Premier League keeper. That's the progression he's been through. So we're also very happy that we've developed him over these games.
Any other injury concerns ahead of Everton?
Concerns always. So we hope everybody stays fit. And other than that, there's no news on injuries.
Fingers crossed it stays that way. Looking back just from the Tottenham result, I know you'll be judging performances as well as results, but how big did that win against Spurs feel for the group, and did you feel a balance this week in terms of training?
I don't feel a difference in intensity in training after the win. I think we've been training in a way and demanding that those standards, I think, was always there, which showed in some very good performances. So in that sense, we're stable, good, rightly so, because the result is one, but the next week starts, and we're starting to prepare ourselves again to the max. So we're training always in that way. Of course, 3 points away from home is big for us in the league where we are. Of course, you can say that with the run of form also was important to get a result, to get a win, but to get 3 points extra was big.
You've been in charge for just over 2 months now. Just wonder, at this point, how do you kind of judge the progression of the side in terms of your ideas, and how are you kind of where you'd like to be at this point, would you say?
Oh, we're in the middle of that progression. We're in the middle of that development. Results and performances has been a lot talked about, and rightly so. I think against Spurs, what you saw was a very well organized team that defended well, was very compact, and also on the ball we show what we can do. Away from home against a team like that was very good to see, and also that it resulted in 3 points. That was good, and 2 away goals. You know, I think we've been speaking about creating chances, and sometimes not converting them. I think we did. We were very efficient on against Spurs.
With the transfer deadline looming on Monday, Ruud, how confident are you that you'll be able to get a few reinforcements in before then? Are you quite hopeful you'll be able to do that?
Yeah, we're still working on a couple of things. Of course, we know it's the deadline. That's why you're working towards to. It's something that we're going to address until the last second of the window and see what we can do. And of course, after Monday, we can close it and look back on it.
I know you've always talked about how much belief you have in the current players, but is there any, maybe frustration isn't the right word, but disappointment perhaps, maybe that's not the right word either, but just that you haven't been able to get those players in sooner in terms of reinforcements and boosting the squad?
No, it's about knowing what you're doing with the club and trying to do whatever within the possibilities, trying to do the maximum possible to get players in that can strengthen the team. So that was what we tried to do and what we're still trying. And if we can get something, would be great. If not, we carry on with this group.
And just finally from me, Ruud, there's been a lot of noise this week about abuse towards referees, especially after Michael Oliver received a few death threats as well. I just wonder your thoughts on that, essentially, the level of abuse refs receive at the moment, the attention, I think especially with VAR, just your observations on that.
No, I don't. You don't have to talk about abuse and only referees. I mean, every person that's in the public eye who gets abuse, and then all parts of respect is gone. And forget that as human beings, that you're in the public eye working, whether it's politics, whether it's sports, whether it's any sector, it's out of order. And you should protect, as a society, you should protect those rights that you have. So it's totally unacceptable. I mean, your question, where is death threats? I mean, if you think about it, please, let's get that out of the society, really. Thanks.
Next time we'll go to Anne-Marie from Premier League.
Hi Ruud, what specific aspects of the Tottenham performance do you want the team to carry into the Everton performance, and how can the team continue building on that momentum?
I think one thing was our defensive shape and our organisation, the way we worked together to stop Tottenham playing. On that foundation we built the result, and we were capable to score our goals and make the difference. So that's the foundation to build on. Of course, momentum is when you can celebrate a win, a deserved win, away from home at Spurs, and the 3 points that we can add to our total, which is obviously the energy and the confidence that you need, and that momentum. Of course, we want to keep going on that.
Goodison Park is often described as a very tough place to go to. How excited are you for the challenge going there as the first team manager?
Yeah, I know what it's like to play there, but I also know in every away game in the Premiership you're going to face circumstances where the crowd is a factor. So with the experience we have in our team, we are able to handle that. And we have to perform in those circumstances, which is always a bigger challenge away from home. So in that sense, we know what Everton is capable of. Also under the new manager, the results they've been getting, found their way up. Our team also, which gained momentum, and with the crowd, of course, is something we have to be prepared for.
You mentioned there, finally from me, you mentioned there about the wins that Everton have had since David Moyes has returned. Has that recent form surprised you, and has that made you think about changing your approach when you prepare to face them at Goodison Park?
Yeah, you take into account that the current run they're in, also new manager coming in, new ideas coming in, so you evaluate how the team played before and now under David. And that's how you build your game plan and you prepare the match.
So Marie, we'll go to Owen Palmer from Leicester.
Hi Ruud, good to see you. On the transfer window, I know you said that the club will be working until the final seconds. Are you confident? Have you been given the assurances that there will be new players to come through the door?
No, I think it's clear what I said from the beginning, and in the conversations that I had before I signed. It was very clear on within which possibilities this window would be handled. We're still in that process, and we're going right through the end to try within the possibility. So that won't change.
Do those possibilities look like permanent transfers or loan deals? Are you having to work in different areas of the market, or is everything still on the table?
Everything's still on the table. We have to keep all the options open with the idea to strengthen the squad.
I wanted to ask about Hamza Chowdhury as well. Left the club this week to join Sheffield United on loan until the end of the season. What was the thinking behind that move for Hamza?
Hamza is obviously a senior player that needs minutes. I think with the midfield in his position that we have, the 4 midfielders that we have in those positions, made his perspective on minutes lower. So for him it was important to play. The player also wanted that, and it is good for the club that the player can show himself, and also for the player. So in that sense, it's a good move.
One of your other midfielders, an attacking midfielder, Bilal El Khanous, really seems to have stepped up his performance levels over the last few weeks. I wonder, when you look at him and the way he is developing, what the reasons behind that are.
He plays a lot, that's for sure. He's playing every game. He's starting every game. He's an important player for us, with his creativity, with his work rate off the ball, with his eye for passing to get the possession going. Can get us out of difficult situations in possession. He can also be creative in assist and in goals. He's been working a lot on his kicking, on his shooting, and happy with his development. And I think you're going to see a lot more from him, with his age, his profile, his work rate in training. He's improving on a daily basis, and we're going to see a lot more from him.
You'll have seen some brilliant players, world-class players, over your time as a player and as a coach. Where do you think his ceiling is, where he could get to?
Yeah, that's the challenge for him to see at this young age. It's pushing himself to finally know where his ceiling is. I think the potential is there to be a top player, to play in a top club in Europe, in the Champions League. I think that's where his potential is. But as I said, it's for him important on a daily basis that he's working like he is, and he can be consistent in that, and then he can go a long way. But of course, when I look at the midfield, and it's also Boubakary Soumaré is making an excellent development together with Bilal in that midfield, and is improving also very quickly.
Just finally from me, I think it was 119 years ago this year that Leicester City first played at Goodison Park. You'll lead them there for the final time in a league match on Saturday. From what are your memories of playing there? Because you scored quite a few goals against Everton in your career as well.
No, it's a classic in English football. Goodison Park. I think if you want to show a person from abroad what is an English football stadium and an atmosphere, and Goodison Park is one of them that I would show them. The old stands, the character close on the pitch, lots of history, and typical for a Premier League team.
Thank you very much. Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Thanks, we'll go to Charlie from BBC Sports.
Thank you, John. Hi, Ruud. In light of the victory last weekend, how important is it that you come away with at least something to build on from Goodison Park at the weekend? That bit of confidence that you'll have got over the last few days doesn't just fizzle out just as quickly as it arrived?
I think yes, a victory gives confidence, but I think the consistency in a professional mindset is that also after a loss, you maintain a certain level of belief and confidence. That's why I was emphasizing a lot on keep believing, keep working, keep the confidence up, because you have to analyze the game not only by the scoreboard. If you do that, you have zero confidence, and you win, you have 100% confidence. It's not working like that in professional sports. So to manage that as a player in good times and in bad times I always say, don't believe the hype, don't believe the drama. So when you win, you're not as good as people write and think and talk, and when you lose, you're not as bad as people talk and write. So you have to maintain that consistency, self-belief, work rate, and looking ahead. So I'm not overdoing a win. I'm not overcomplicating losses. Do your work and get better every day on the pitch.
How easy or difficult is that to drill into an entire group of players? Because within your own mind, you can keep yourself on that even keel, but
Yeah.
how much of a challenge is that to do with this current group?
Yeah, it's obviously speaking a lot with the players and evaluating the games as they are. And what was good is being mentioned, and what can be better is shown, and then we take that onto the training pitch to improve. And that's continuous development. And that's what it's about in life and in sports. And then you get on with it. So that is something that I bring, and on a daily basis, I'm working together with my staff and towards the players.
Just on the deadline being on Monday evening, is that in any way a distraction with all of the weekend's games and all that sort of stuff? There will be players that are angling for moves, there will be business that's going on behind closed doors.
Yeah.
I imagine as a manager you'd rather not have it a couple of days after the game.
No, it's part of the job, and in these windows as you describe it, it's how a day is. It's 24/7. So you have to be ready for that. You have to be prepared for that. You have to be in communication with that, with the players, which are part of that situation. So communicating with them and also with the club on all matters is vital to get the maximum out of this. And at the same time, the process of preparing games and winning games is on. So, yeah, welcome to a Premiership manager or a manager's job.
Appreciate your time. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie. Chris Mark from RTV. Finally.
Hi, Ruud. When a club is in a bad run of form, is it of benefit to play maybe a couple of games away from home? Is there less pressure that comes with that from supporters, do you think, not being there and being in a potentially poisonous atmosphere?
No, I don't experience it like that. You would rather play at home in front of your fans at all circumstances, because you know that with a good performance, that atmosphere will be great, and it's up to us to prove that. So in that sense, I would always choose. It's always an advantage to play at home, I think. But away games, are a challenge and more difficult. And Spurs and Everton and United are 3 on the road before we come back to the King Power after that. So we're looking forward to that too.